Hello, students. Welcome back to your history class. I am Mrs. Jenny Shah, and last class we started with the question and answers of the last chapter, Paths to Modernization. We were discussing the very short answers, and we finished 9 questions. Today is the 10th question. Who was Sun Yat-sen, and what is his contribution to China? Dr. Sun Yat-sen was the architect of modern China. It was he who first of all visualized that the Manchu rule was the root cause of China's backwardness. He organized the different revolutionary groups into a new party called Thongming Hui, or the so called Kuomintang Party, to get rid of the Manchu misrule. His efforts bore fruit in 1911 when the Republic of China came into being in 1911, and he was made its first free provisional president. He died in 1925, and by then he left his country very strong and safe. He was a great national leader of China. Short and sweet answer. Next question. What were the major developments before the Meiji Restoration that made it possible for Japan to modernize rapidly? Or you can even ask, who were shoguns and how did they make modernization of Japan possible? The Meiji Restoration took place in Japan in 1868 when its emperor got real powers. During a long period from 1603 to 1867, the rulers of Japan were nominal rulers and the real powers were in the hands of shoguns. During this shogun's period, certain steps were certainly taken which made Japan modernization possible. Number one, arms were snatched from the farmers, and this helped in maintaining peace and law because the peasants had created a chaos due to the mutual strikes. Number two, the governors, who were called daimyos, they were ordered to remain in their own capitals and they were given wider autonomous powers. This helped to achieve the objective of maintenance of law and order. Third, to increase the land revenue, all the land was surveyed and classified on the basis of its production. This increased the land revenue many times. These steps enabled Japan to become a powerful industrial country in a rapid pace. So these were the three major reasons why Japan modernized so rapidly. Next, discuss how the daily life was transformed as Japan developed. With the gradual development of Japan, a continuous change took place in the life of the people of Japan within no time. Japan was now transformed into a modern society. In Japan, there was a joint family system, but soon the nuclear family system began to take place, in which only the parents and their children were the members of the family. New type of domestic products came into light like pressure cookers to cook rice and use of gas. The new thinking also gave birth to the demand for new means of entertainment, and gradually new changes took place in the life of people. Demand for new house types began to increase, and many companies got ready were ready to provide houses on installment on the basis of the competitive rates. So these were different things that took place. 13th question. How did the Qing dynasty try and meet the challenges posed by the Western powers? The Qing dynasty had to meet the threats and challenges posed by the European powers. The Qing rulers had to make various efforts to meet these challenges. They made improvements in their administrative system so that they might stand the test of modern administrative system. The king rulers made many improvements in their army and equipped it with modern weapons so that they could face the European powers. Special attention was paid towards education. The students were sent to Japan, England, and France so that they might return after picking up new ideas. The old Chinese examination system was done away with. To establish constitutional government, legislative assemblies were constituted and they were made familiar with the negative aspect of imperialism so that they can protect their country from the pressure and the influence of the foreigners. So these were the different things King dynasty did to save itself from the Western powers. Next, write a brief account about the civil war in China from 1945 to 1949. Kuomintang government of Chiang Kai-shek and the communists of Mao Zedong, they had jointly waged a war against Japan from 1937 to 1945. The fear of a common foe had united them. But when the Second World War ended in 1945, both these parties began to fight with each other. Both the sides wanted to maintain their own authority on the major part of the territory vacated by Japan. They kept fighting for about 4 years, and slowly and steadily the communists established their hold on Manchuria, Peking, Nanking, Shanghai, Canton, etc. So, in the process, whole of China slipped from the hands of Chiang and his nationalists, and they had to take shelter in Formosa or Taiwan, fleeing from the mainland, where they established a nationalist government under the patronage of the Americans. The main reason for the victory of the communists was the fact that they had the support of the people. They had won the support of landless peasants by distributing land among them. The officials of the Nationalist Army or the army of Chiang Kai shek were corrupt and worthless and unpopular among the people. By his despotic behavior, Chiang had made many of his colleagues his enemies. Next question, question number 15. Write a short note on Taiwan. After his defeat in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party in 1949, Chiang Kai-shek fled to Taiwan Islands, located in the southern China Sea near China. There he established his government, known by the name of the Republic of China, with the help of the American government. In the China-Japan war, China lost this island to Japan. And after World War II, China got this island back. In 1949, Chiang Kai shek had occupied this island. Though a repressive policy was adopted towards the local people, but due to land reforms and by the modernization of economy, the national income increased so much that after Japan, it became the second prosperous region in Asia. In 1975, after the death of Chiang Kai shek, Many important steps were taken in Taiwan in direction of democracy. The opposition parties were now given full freedom, and the process of bringing the local Taiwanese in power began. New trade missions of many countries are in Taiwan, and the relations with China are also improving. Due to the patronage of America, even China did not dare to annex Taiwan. Next question. What part did Japan play in the First World War, that is 1914 to 1918? Before the beginning of the First World War, Japan developed her industries and commerce and became a first rate power in the East. She joined the Allies in the war, taking advantage of the preoccupation of the Western powers in the war. She attacked China to fulfill her territorial ambition. She inflicted a crushing defeat on China and placed her 21 demands before President Yuan of China. China also entered the war on the side of the Allies in August. The Allies, particularly the USA, intervened in the affairs of China and checked the imperialistic designs of Japan and maintained territorial integrity of China and saved China from being dismembered. What part did Japan play in the Second World War? Next question, question 17. When the Second World War broke out in 1939, Japan sided with Germany in opposition to the Allies. Without any cause, she attacked the US naval base at the Pearl Harbor. Many American warships were sunk or they were badly damaged. The Japanese also captured the British naval harbors of Hong Kong and Singapore. They attacked Burma and captured Rangoon and Mandalay. At last, USA was forced to drop down two atom bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which compelled Japan to surrender. For several years after the war, Japan was under the control of the USA. The Japanese were very clever and hardworking people. They very soon repaired the damage caused by the war and made progress by leaps and bounds. So this was a very short description of the First and the Second World War and what Japan did in it. Next, next set of questions. Short answers. These are like 100-word answers for 4 marks each. We'll do 2 today and the rest tomorrow. Question 1. What factors led to the beginning of modern age? There were many factors which played an important role in leading the medieval age to modern age. The main among them are, there are 5 points in this, okay? So please write them down. There are 5 points in this. Number 1, Renaissance. Number 2, maritime explorations and discoveries. Number 3, the Reformations. Number 4, rise of the middle class. And number 5 is the rise of the nation states. 4 is rise of middle class. Now, these are 5 factors that led to the beginning of the modern age. So, what started the modern age? There were many factors which played an important part in leading the medieval age to modern age. The main among them are the following. Number 1, Renaissance. Because of taking a new interest in art and literature of the ancient Greeks and Romans, the Europeans began to change their own outlook on life. Now, they began to test everything on the touchstone of reasoning and questioning. In such a state of affair, the darkness and ignorance of the medieval age began to give place to the light and brilliance of the modern age. Number two, maritime explorations and discoveries. Because of the invention of the mariner's compass, great sailors like Vasco da Gama and Columbus discovered many new lands. Consequently, people of one country began to freely meet with the people of the other country, and the world was free to exchange ideas. In such circumstances, how could the ignorance of the medieval age prevail for a very long time? Number three, the Reformations. Reformers like Martin Luther vehemently attacked one of the main pillars of the Middle Age, the church and the corrupt clergy, thereby promoting free thinking among the people. Now, they gave up blind faiths and useless dogmas and began to think for themselves. During the medieval period, the nobility and the clergy of the new countries, a new class of the society, the middle class, emerged, which was in no way prepared to bow down before the pleasure seeking nobility and the corrupt clergy. It was because of their help that the common people dared to challenge the special rights and privileges of the upper classes. Fifth point, rise of nation states. The Reformation had already prompted people to rise against the authority of a foreign pope. In such circumstances, when some rulers tried to get rid of the feudal lords and the pope, the people at once took the side of the national rulers. Consequently, strong rulers overpowered the stubborn feudal lords and ignored the authority of the pope in political matters. They established their own kingdoms, which they ruled as they pleased. Next question. How did China fall prey to the European powers? Imperialism cast its shadow in the 18th and 19th century on many parts of the world. China fell prey to the colonial rule of the European powers. In their bid to promote trade, to enhance power, and to extend colonial empires, countries like England, France, Germany, Russia, America, and even her neighbor Japan tried to subjugate the Chinese. In the beginning, these countries limited their activities near the coastal areas, but the deplorable condition of China encouraged them to extend their areas of operation in the integral parts of China. During this period, the British and the French indulged in the illegal internal parts of China. Sorry, in during this period, British and French indulged in the illegal opium trade where the Chinese officials were trying to curb it. Then Britain declared a war in which the Chinese were very easily defeated. Now the Chinese were forced to open five ports and then nine slowly to the foreign traders, and they also had to agree to the British occupation of Hong Kong. Other nations soon followed the Anglo French designs and began to spread their influence in China. Japan occupied Formosa and Korea after defeating the Chinese. The Chinese, defeated at the hands of Japan, encouraged Russia to occupy Manchuria, Port Arthur, etc. The Germans occupied Kiachao Bay. France occupied other Chinese territory. Sorry, Germans occupied Kiachao Bay and France occupied Guangzhou Bay. English laid their hands on the Weihai Wai. The plunder of the Chinese territories tempted Americans also to jump in the field. She suggested the policy known as the open door policy and stressed that all countries had equal rights to trade anywhere in China. The other imperialist countries, including Britain, agreed to this suggestion, and consequently, China was saved from further disintegration. But the economic exploitation of China went on unhindered. The young Chinese rose against the exploitation, and a movement called the Rebellion broke out. But the imperialist powers crushed this revolt, and exploitation of China went on till the beginning of the 20th century. Throw some light. Okay, we are not doing the third question today, that's for tomorrow. So, with these children, I'm going to end this class. Please note down these answers, they're really important. I hope you all have understood the chapter. We shall be doing the notes soon. With these children, I end today's class. Stay home, stay safe, take care, keep learning. Thank you.